Hey there, I'm Rozu. I'm probably the okayest player you'll ever meet with no notable wins. Oh, tour support in the community? Oh yeah, you already know. I grew up playing Melee and I found myself in the AZ Melee community when I was in college. Shout out to the Sack Gaming Lounge and Poop Feast. Anyways, I used a custom box my friend Hadoe made. My thumb joint was hurting from playing Melee, so I decided to give it a shot because why not? This is a prototype, so there's most likely going to be some changes from the final product, but let me show you what happens when an average player like me switches to the box. Here are a few things I wanted to cover. My initial thoughts on the HTangl, how I practiced, what characters I used, and if you should consider switching. This is all after a week of use and I feel like I've already gotten pretty comfortable on it, so let's hop into it. For the first few days I was struggling, as is to be expected. I'm learning a new controller. It's similar to learning how to ride a bike for the first time or using your friend's shower for the first time. It's difficult because I had to rewire my brain to play Melee again. I'm literally using every finger on my hand when I play it, and it felt weird, but there was a new sense of passion where I wanted to learn so much more. Muscle memory was definitely something I had to develop. I had to remember that up on the left stick was on my right pinky, making my thumb remember 5 different button placements for the C stick directions and the A button. And then there was an even bigger hurdle that I had to go through. On the HTangl, I had to get used to the button I L-cancelled with, Z, was the button I also grabbed with, but that I couldn't tech with. Now I tech with L, and R is mainly used for wave dashing since it's next to X and Y. Having to relearn the timings for inputs was so foreign to me since it was like second nature on controller. Things like jump cancel grabs, wave dashing, and wave landing were so difficult to get used to because of how I had to reroute it in my brain. When it comes to most things, I'm a relatively fast learner, and thankfully, this is no exception. That being said, I'm also surprised when things that were difficult on controller came a lot easier on the HTangl. By this, I mean things like shield drop inputs, pivot smash attacks, perfect ledge dashes, and even multi-shines are relatively easy and scarily consistent given enough practice. Simple actions were way more difficult than I could have imagined, mainly because I don't have the muscle memory for L cancelling or a good field of C-stick button placements yet. So, trying to do something like a falling up air from flat to up tilt sounds relatively easy, right?
So I'm getting the exact order. So it's down, up on the C-stick, up, Z, and then A.
After a week, I'm more comfortable with tech, movement, and I've developed enough muscle memory for me to play the game at a somewhat competent level. I'm not close to where I was when I was playing with controller, but I've gotten there a lot faster than I was expecting to. Hadoe said on multiple occasions that I'm learning at the speed of light, so just remember that muscle memory comes faster or slower depending on the person. First and foremost, I use the UnclePunch training mod. If you've never used it or heard of it, I'd definitely recommend it for training. The training lab was great for training general movement, wave lands, and getting the timing down for short hops. Like every new player, this was kind of the bane of my existence for the first few days because it was so easy on controller that it felt like every short hop I tried to do came out as a full hop. I sleep. I used the L cancel training, ledge dash, wave dash training, and whatnot. Exercise really helped my accuracy and execution for potential scenarios. When I felt confident enough to play with actual people, I played some friendlies to implement what I learned and seeing what else I needed to focus on, be that L cancelling, short hopping, first hit and air to grab, up the angles, etc. I keep on holding down! Links to the mod pack are down in the description. Training mode 2.0 is free right now, whereas 3.0 is currently on his Patreon. It's definitely worth the $5 if you're looking at improving the game, and it's been a huge help for me transitioning to the HTangl so far. Initially, I used Fox because that's who I was playing at the time of switching. Learning to effectively use up tilt was a challenge because I'd have to use my left thumb, right pinky, and right thumb in order to execute an up tilt. The muscle memory will come eventually. There's so much complex stuff I want to do with Fox, but I can't execute it yet. Falcon came with relative ease because I was a Falcon main prior, and I think he might be the one that I stick with for the time being because his flowchart is much easier than that of Fox, and I've always loved his explosiveness. So, should you consider switching? I am by no means a professional, so please take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'd say that switching to something like this really depends on your situation. Here are a few points I'll be going over. Your hands, your money, aesthetic, and the effort to relearn. As we all know, game controllers are unergonomic as humanly possible. I switched because, like I said, I was having thumb joint pain. I took the safe route and decided to switch over completely after getting more comfortable with the HTangl. These controllers will cost quite a bit, but in consideration with how much it costs to get a controller with all the nooks and crannies, You'd probably end up spending about the same as if you were getting another controller. With the HTangl I paid $120, that price is subject to change because, like I said, it's a prototype. Hadoe said that he's shooting for $160 for the price of the HTangl. For the controller that I got with wave dash notches and shield drop notches, it hit my bank for about $200 give or take. Okay, so half of the reason I wanted to include an aesthetics portion is just because I wanted to show off just this cool art piece that I made. But you can also just like make your own custom stuff, and then if you wanna just change it around, go for it. Okay, be honest with me now. Would you put in the time and effort to learn how to use this? It's scary, it's intimidating, but let me tell you that when you learn how to use it, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like learning how to walk again, and soon enough you'll be running. I wasn't so sure about it because I mean, look at this. Once you start to develop muscle memory and things become more consistent, it'll feel a lot better, but the journey to get there is one with a lot of frustration. I'm lucky it only took me a week, but there are some people that'll take longer than a week of practice to feel comfortable. Learning this has been one of the biggest challenges in my Melee career, and I did it because I love this game too much to give up on it. If you're on the same boat as me where you're starting to have or have been experiencing hand problems, I for one think it's definitely a good reason to switch over. It'll be a long fought journey full of doubts, but in the long run, I think it's definitely worth it. I don't know how to end the video, so here's a short montage.
Saying the rebellion is a photo ops. Mouthful of sentence, gotta pretend. Fake friend, phony in a second. Good at throwing fits, cause you're mentally 11. Wanna be a cool kid. You were born in 97 and your clicks have moved on now. Twitter is your weapon. Pretend these ones and zeros are your friends. Show up to a party and the party starts to end. Every conversation that you're in, you gotta win. Prettiest, the prettiest, the pettiest you've been. 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 Prettiest, the prettiest, the pettiest you've been.